Tell me about these sick shirts. Where do these come from?
Oh, Taj did the design, and then Jules delivered them.
Damn, looking fresh.
And snowshoe, Pete and me had 1 or 2 beers, and Pete was like, what are we doing for World Champs? And then I did a doodle in my notepad. 2 weeks later, they arrived.
So you're telling me world's class suspension mechanic and apparel designer.
Well, you know, when you're a big deal like me, I've got many leather-bound books.
And quite stiff. So try and go down a couple of psi.
But you're at 90 now.
95.
95.
And it feels quite like I'm still just getting it used to it, but there's kind of like, especially like through the roots and the chattery stuff, it's like quite angry.
Quite angry.
4 and 5.
He's got a very angry fork.
I don't know how bike terminology, so I give him feelings. And I think compression's all the way open on both.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that.
Are the practice laps pretty crowded? Like, are there a bunch of people on track?
No, I think it's actually quite chill because I think at a World Cup you have a bigger field. There's probably like usually like 200 elite men or whatever at a World Cup, and then now it's obviously just like 7 per federation or whatever. So it's actually quite quiet. Like at a World Cup you can stand at a section, there's just like riders. Now it's like, yeah, you see like, you know, there's still riders, but it's not as jam-packed as a normal World Cup.
Oh, okay.
But it's cool, like even the track hasn't deteriorated as much as like what do you call it, a normal World Cup. Like usually we do track walk and then we get to A practice and it's like blown, whereas this is like still fairly how we walked it yesterday, which is a big surprise.
Okay, go try that.
What was that?
It was at 5.
So I tried to click into 4 and I thought I maybe went 1 too many or whatever. So that you went,
Slowed it down.
and any one of these clicks
Not yet.
and these clicks, nothing. So 1 click on the back.
Good. Like the settings seem fine.
Okay. So this is all still open.
No, I set that where it should be. Open high, 11 low.
Okay.
That's what I told you this morning.
Okay. Yeah, I got it all up here. Don't worry.
I know you do. So much.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah, see ya.
I'll see you later.
Is it really fast? Kind of slippery?
Yeah, it's
A little bit steep?
it's too boingy again. Yeah, it's really not that rough. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably the smoothest track of the year as far as like the big gnarly stuff goes. So far, there's not a lot of big impact stuff, but there's a lot of like where you're just kind of on flatter ground and the line's just this wide and there's little roots underneath, so you get that like that real high frequency chatter when you're going across roots and stuff. And there's just like kind of loose, so we try to go down PSI front and rear. It kind of felt better, but it really is just that, mostly in the fork, and just that high frequency chatter. Just trying to get front end grip when you're kind of just like annoyed.
Okay. How's like chassis attitude feel? Like about hands are where you want them, feet are where you want them.
I don't know. I can't tell yet. I was thinking about it after my second run. I think it's pretty close. I thought about like maybe lowering the front end just a little bit, but
Pushing tubes through. Or
pulling them
dropping
up
bars.
just because the track's actually pretty flat, but I feel like as it gets rougher and keeps going, it's gonna go back the other way
Oh,
probably.
you
Like,
think it's flattish.
We're still
yeah,
like
track's
our-
like feels pretty flat to me.
Okay.
Like there's steep sections, but outside of the chutes, a lot of that connector stuff's pretty flat. And it's just, you're kind of panning it through the woods everywhere and you're trying to just get traction. The front end just feels like it's moving through like a quarter of the travel.
Let's give it a try at 95, and then, like, if it stays smooth and the geo's good, then we're good.
Run it a little longer.
Let's run this and see how the grip goes.
Yeah, it's a little different. You usually feel like you need to get up to speed fairly quick because it's like qualifying would be tomorrow, and I guess it technically still is, but the race is until Saturday, and we got a bunch more practice on Friday. So I'm trying to like take my time a little bit more than maybe I would, but this track is really not. It's really easy to go fast, and right now it doesn't feel like there's a lot to it. Like last year, it was so technical and gnarly, just because of the way it was routed and it was like so muddy. But now that it's dry, you just run straight across all the routes like they're not there. So it's like it really makes the track just pretty straight and fast. So yeah, it's a fun track to ride, and you kind of feel like you can get up to speed pretty quick. But if it rains, it could all change.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Broham. Oh yeah, that feels so much better.
We opened up a lot of compression on his fork. He had that thing so stiff, I guess from the big holes in Mont Saint Anne, and then like snowshoe, that kind of stuff didn't really matter because you were just trying to get over the rocks. But here he said it's tracked super smooth, but there's a very narrow line, and in the line there's small roots, so you're really struggling for that ultra small bump grip, kind of vibration almost. So we just opened up compression on the fork a bunch. Haven't touched the shock yet.
What are you doing in Leger?
I am here. I've been here in Morzine doing some ride-out stuff with the Santa Cruz crew on the e-bike. I am the e-bike guy, and I'm, which I like. It's my choice. So we've ridden some amazing trails the last few days, and then fortunately I've got to fly out tomorrow. I'm going to miss the racing because I've got shows in the Malvers Classic this weekend, so I'll be here in spirit, and I'll be certainly watching the racing, but yeah, kind of gutted to be here right now and just imagining how good the vibe's going to be. So.
Yeah, it's been relatively quiet, surprisingly. What I have heard from Aaron was that the track is really smooth. Maybe things don't matter so much yet. If it rains or if it gets chopped up, then it'll probably be a different story. But everybody says like even lines aren't really forming. It's just the dirt's so softish. Like it just moves and then comes back into shape. So it's not getting rough.
Do you think with like the additional day of practice, people ramp up more slowly, or?
You'd hope. So maybe they're approaching it and managing their time a little better, because you don't really need another day of fast practice. You just take that time to kind of do things, like spread out that time in a productive manner.
We've been hearing such good things about this track already. Everyone seems to be really stoked on it, which seems to always make it just that much more fun to watch. Even though it's a little quiet around the pits today, there's definitely plenty of time left before the race on Saturday. So in the meantime, we will see you tomorrow for qualifiers. So you and Danny go way back, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the first time I went to Taj and Jill's house, it was just after all the kind of lockdowns.
And Taj was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the shop and get some mint for, I think it was maybe to make mojitos, I can't remember. He went to get the mint and came back with a lawnmower, which was nice.
Fucking Danny appears. And I'm like,
as I'm going up the driveway, Taj just meets me in the drive with a selling lawnmower basically. And then we ended up drinking quite a lot of rum. And then at about 2 AM decided to head out with the leftovers of the very last bits of the bottle of rum to go and head up the tracks on a sit-on lawnmower up into the woods, which was quite good fun. So I was on the tandem, straddling the arches, going up. We went up into the woods for a while. I think Jules was wondering where we went.
And then yeah, they were away for flipping ages. And at a certain point I was like, I hope they're okay.
Pretty good. I think there was a breakdown on the way up as well, so Taj is there underneath the lawnmower kind of trying to fix it on the way up there.
The battery was flat, so you had to like start it with an electric drill. So we couldn't restart it, so the engine was still running, but the belt was off. And I was there with like a flipping house key trying to tweak this belt back on the drive thing without taking my finger off. So we're driving home and he keeps fucking dragging the steering wheel, driving up these banks.
I was reaching over Taj's shoulders and we were having a bit of a wrestle with the steering wheel, and there's like a gully, really steep gully with nettles on either side.
Oh no.
And I was like giving it full strength one way and Taj is going the other way, and I managed to kind of steer us up this gully, and eventually we kind of got to a point where the set lawnmower coped on top of us. Set lawnmower falling right on top of us as we were piled into the nettles, laughing like anything and just having a good time. So.